Start your day with Dr. A. Start your day. You're gonna start it. You're gonna start it. Start your day with Dr. A. Start your day. You're gonna start it.
Good morning and welcome to Start Your Day with Dr. Ray, a 5-minute inspirational to get your day off to an amazing start. Thank you for starting your day with me. We're looking at graced, G for graced, past tense. Remember, Graced, you are graced. And here's the verse. Romans chapter 5:15 says, "But there is a great difference between Adam's sin and God's gracious gift." Here's the difference. "For the sin of this one man, Adam, brought death to many. But even greater is God's wonderful grace and his gift of forgiveness to many through this other man, Jesus Christ." And we looked at in 1 Corinthians 15:47, which says that Jesus is our second Adam, which brought us back to our initial relationship with God that he wants with us. Today, let's continue to look at grace, and let's look at first grace, the principle. Here's the principle of grace. The law came by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. There is a conjunction, but they're comparing them. The law was by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. And of course, grace and truth is so much better. That's the principle. Now let's look at grace, the picture. In John 8, there's a story of a woman who was caught dead to rights and sin and brought before Jesus for the judgment. That's what the society, the culture wanted. She was guilty under the law and should have received the death penalty. But let's see how a picture of both grace and truth, because remember the law came by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus Christ. The law brought that sinful woman to Jesus, like we're all brought to Jesus. But through grace, Jesus released her and forgave her of her sins. And the truth is, Jesus said, "Now don't repeat the same behavior that got you in this place in the first place," right? Grace and truth are by Jesus Christ. That's the picture of grace. Look at the principle of grace. Now let's see the power of grace. Here's what grace gives us. God's grace rules our lives. You see that in Romans 5:20 and 21. We are governed and ruled by grace, not law, not condemnation. We now live under God's freedom and the freedom that God's grace gives us. We live under that freedom of grace. Romans 6:14. Not only that, but we have God's grace that goes even beyond human wisdom. 2 Corinthians 1:12. It goes beyond wisdom. God's grace, listen to this one. This is 2 Corinthians 12:9. God's grace is more than enough for any of life's trials. Remember Brendan Manning's quote, "No evil can resist grace forever." And here's the one I love so much. God's grace is working, God's power, he is working through us by his grace. 1 Corinthians 15:10, Philippians 2:13. It is literally God that is working through you and I. That's the power of grace. Now finally, I want to look at the paradigm. We need a new paradigm, a paradigm shift. Paradigm is a way of thinking, a way of acting. Number one, grace changes our motivation behind living as a follower for Jesus. Now we don't live for him out of fear or going to hell or fear that he's going to hurt us. That's not our motivation. Our motivation is because of his grace. We live for God out of our love for him and our restored friendship with God that was restored to us by Jesus, just like Adam had in the garden. It changes our motivation, but also a new paradigm. It changes the power behind our living, because now we're living literally by the power of his grace and not by the power of our own strength. All this is because you and a part of our identity in Christ. All of this is ours because we are graced. Graced. Here's your call to action today. I want you to embrace that paradigm shift. I want you to move your motivation from any kind of legalism to love, to doing what you do for God because you love him, not because you fear him, and move that paradigm from all of our own strength to his power. It's his strength working through us. He is more than enough. If you would like more free spiritual coaching and inspiration, just join us at our In Between Facebook group or at inbetweenfamily.org, our site. See you next time on Start Your Day with Dr. A.